So there you have it. We've broken down all 10 games. Let's pull it all together now. Here is your full weekend game plan, every single pick in one spot. All right, welcome in. We've got a massive weekend of football coming right up. Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, you name it. We're going to break down 10 key games and give you our sharpest, value-driven forecast for the weekend's best bets. Let's get into it. Okay, but before we jump into the matches, let's talk about the game plan. You know, our picks aren't just random shots in the dark. There's a real strategy behind them, all about spotting the real value. And here's the core of it, right? We're laser-focused on smart, value-driven selections. We're looking for those spots where everything, current form, the matchups, all the data, it all just points in one clear direction. It's about making choices we feel really confident about. So how do we actually do that? Well, our strategy really rests on 3 key pillars. First up, we love backing dominant home teams. You know, the ones that turn their stadiums into absolute fortresses. Second, we're not afraid to target the defensive weaknesses of underdogs, especially when they're on the road. And finally, we're all about capitalizing on high scoring potential in those lopsided games, where one team's attack is just going to be too much to handle. Okay, strategy's clear. Let's get to the fun part, the games themselves. We're going to kick things off with 5 big matches on Saturday, January 31st. First on the list, we're heading to Ellen Road for Leeds versus Arsenal. And what a contrast this is, right? You've got a pretty inconsistent Leeds team going up against an Arsenal side that is just on fire, absolutely flying high in the title race. This is a classic showdown, a top-tier attack against a defense that, let's be honest, can really struggle. And yeah, our verdict definitely reflects that. The big reason here is Arsenal's ruthless away form. They are just so clinical on the road, and their attack is an incredible touch. We're predicting a pretty comfortable 0-2 win for the Gunners here, which makes that over 1.5 goals bet look like a really solid pick. Next up, we've got a London derby, Chelsea taking on West Ham at Stamford Bridge. And look, Chelsea's home form is a huge factor, especially in these local battles. West Ham, meanwhile, well, they can be pretty leaky when they're playing away from home. Stamford Bridge really is a fortress for them in these London derbies, and that's the key. We're forecasting a clean 2-0 win for the Blues. Their attack should have more than enough firepower to get this done, and that should easily cover the over 1.5 goals line. All right, let's hop over to Spain now for Elche versus Barcelona. Barca is deep in a title chase, and they're in absolutely top form. On the other side, you've got Elche, a mid-table team with some well-known defensive problems, especially against the big boys. This one is a perfect example of targeting a mismatch. I mean, Barca's away scoring has been lethal, and they just don't slip up against teams in the bottom half of the table. We're expecting a totally dominant performance here, predicting a 0-3 win for Barcelona. Over 1.5 goals, yeah, that should be cleared with plenty of room to spare. Now let's head over to the Bundesliga for a classic top versus bottom clash. You've got Hamburger SV, who are battling relegation, hosting the runaway leaders, Bayern Munich. This one has all the makings of a pretty one-sided game. Let's face it, Bayern's attack is just unstoppable on the road. We're predicting a 1-3 win for the visitors. And that's exactly why our main pick here is over 2.5 goals. We're just expecting an explosive, high-scoring game from the league leaders. And for our final Saturday game, we're dipping into the championship, Sheffield Wednesday versus Wrexham. Now, Wrexham is in the middle of a serious promotion push, and they're in great form. Sheffield Wednesday, on the other hand, has shown some real defensive weaknesses. And that promotion push, that's the key factor here. Wrexham's momentum, their attacking edge, it should be enough to see them through for a 0-2 away win. And honestly, given their style against a leaky defense, over 2.5 goals is a strong possibility too. This game is likely going to open up. All right, that's Saturday covered. Now let's get ready for Sunday because we've got 5 more huge games from across Europe's top leagues. Kicking off Sunday, it's Manchester United versus Fulham. United are usually so solid at Old Trafford, especially against a mid-table team like Fulham. We're expecting them to control this one from the get-go, leading to a professional 2-0 home win. And that should comfortably cover the over 1.5 goals mark. Next, we've got a massive one, Tottenham versus Manchester City. Look, Spurs are always going to put up a fight at home, but City's relentless quality in these big games, it's just so hard to bet against. I think we're in for a high-tempo thriller, and we're predicting a narrow 1-2 win for City. With this much attacking talent on the field, over 1.5 goals feels like a near certainty. Okay, back to La Liga we go. Real Madrid are hosting Rayo Vallecano. Madrid is just so dominant at the Bernabeu, and this is a classic case of them just outclassing their opponent at home. We're forecasting a clean, professional 2-0 win for Madrid, easily covering that over 1.5 goals. Now let's jump over to Serie A for US Cremonese versus Inter Milan. As strong title contenders with a fantastic away record, Inter are the clear favorites here. Their clinical finishing should be enough to lock in a comfortable 0-2 win on the road. And for our final pick of the weekend, we're heading to the Scottish Premiership. Celtic are pretty much unstoppable at home, especially when they're up against lower-tier teams. You gotta expect goals here. We're predicting a convincing 3-1 victory, which makes over 2.5 goals the obvious pick. So there you have it. We've broken down all 10 games. Let's pull it all together now. Here is your full weekend game plan, every single pick in one spot. All right, let's do a rapid-fire recap of the whole game plan. For Saturday, we've got Arsenal, Chelsea, and Barcelona all to win with over 1.5 goals. Then we're looking at high-scoring wins for both Bayern Munich and Wrexham, hitting that over 2.5 goals mark in each. Then for Sunday, we've got Manchester United, Manchester City, and Real Madrid all winning with over 1.5 goals. And we're going to finish it off with Inter winning on the road with over 1.5 goals and a goal fest at Celtic Park with over 2.5 goals. Got it? And that just about wraps up our forecast. These are some sharp, motivated picks, right? A good mix of confident wins for the big clubs and some smart overs and games that should really open up. And as always, here's the most important piece of advice we can give. Please stake responsibly. But most of all, just sit back and enjoy what's shaping up to be a fantastic weekend of football. Ultimately, it's about you making your own informed choice. So after seeing all of this, I'll leave you with one final question. Of all these picks, which one is your absolute weekend banker? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.